Yeah, you have to work hard at the widgets at first.
Yeah, of course.
There's a gauge. It's like, hey, work hard at the widgets, but definitely by the time you start managing people, you got to forget about the widget.
Every single individual has a story to tell, and they're great stories that need to be heard.
I want every listener to know they have the ability to change the world.
Welcome to the 1720 podcast.
What's up, Mount Movers? Welcome back to the 1720 podcast.
Basketball.
All right, he got it in.
Dang it.
Yeah.
He already ruined what I was going to say with that pre-record was probably my favorite of all time. Like we're an hour and 10 minutes behind, but it was awesome.
It was
I
awesome.
enjoyed
It was awesome.
I think we almost cried. We almost ordered ice cream.
Kevin cried 3 times.
Yeah.
Twice of them were ugly.
There were loud sounds. They didn't offer me a Kleenex. They offered me to leave the room.
Yeah. We ordered ice cream off an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
There's a
didn't
lot.
have the music playing though.
Yeah, and so I jumped in to say basketball quickly because I think the goal was to beat me to it.
It was
not happening. No, not happening.
Got to be quicker on my feet.
I show up to win. That was also part of us recording earlier.
And before we go elevator pitch, so it's
I don't
Andy
even
Wharton.
think we've introed Andy yet.
So we got Andy Wharton on today. And what I love about the EDP is like I've known you and we've battled together and against like in the industry and like it's in passing, but like the value of EDP, like I've grown a lot closer to you just through this year of showing up, getting to know you, see what your heart is about and all that sort of stuff. And that's been super valuable in the Texo EDP journey.
Yeah, I love it. I've been involved with EDP, Build Texas Proud, Texo. I'm involved in ASA, so love the industry. So I guess Andy Wharton, work at Chamberlin, associates with Kevin when he in the glass. So we do some caulking and some waterproofing around them. We do roofing, restoration. Been there 18 years and married, have a lovely wife, Kayla, son, 7. Just enjoy life and all about just trying to have fun around peers and family. So that's kind of the short elevator pitch before you ask. I guess I beat you to the punch.
You beat me to ask an elevator. I guess it's a little back and forth there.
And then basketball to beat me to it. But for those that do know me and don't know me, I'm about 6'6" and played basketball all the way up through junior college. So basketball is an important part of my life. Learned a lot of lessons along the way. My son's playing basketball and baseball. So that's just a great sport for me. I just enjoy it. It helps being my size, obviously.
It's definitely not a detriment to
No, my measurables weren't great enough to go any further, though. I don't even remember what my what do you call it? The vertical? Yeah. So, see, I don't even know what it's called anymore. The dollar bill barely fits underneath it. So, just didn't have a high vertical, but love the game for sure. It means a lot.
Yeah.
Horse racing probably wasn't in the cards for you.
No.
Like being a jockey?
Jockey. Yeah. I tried it once. Never worked out. Didn't ever happen. No, I don't know anything about being a jockey or a horse racer. Anything.
And now you have a glimpse into the pre-record.
Yeah, exactly. This is how it went. Okay, so I'm flipping, like, this is me throwing this away.
Yeah.
Because I actually want to talk industry stuff first.
Yeah.
Can we do that? Because
Sure.
you have been on the like cutting edge of all the supply chain crazy. Tell me about that.
Well, a lot of that's heartache. Roofing took a big hit. I mean, it was like a waterfall just constantly. I mean, one day it was membrane. The next day it was insulation, and it was skyrocketing prices. I never forget, it was probably like March, April when it first happened, like 2 weeks after the freeze and everything get back online. We got a notice and it said 100% increase on adhesive.
Effective immediately.
Effective immediately, no holding pricing or anything. And it just was, as a company, we talked about it like, this is shock. We got to get escalation, all this stuff in there. And frankly, jumping to the end, and there's a lot of stuff in the middle where we talked about it internally. We didn't really communicate to our customers effectively on all fronts. So if you looked at my LinkedIn recently, I started just blasting. Every time I got something, hey, I got all these connections in the industry. I'm going to let everybody know
Mm-hmm.
because people were still just calling and asking, and I love taking phone calls, but the information was getting skewed across different competitors. Everybody had a different story. For what I am at business, I want to be open book. If a guy says he got a 100% increase, I want everybody to know about it.
Yeah, right.
And so I started posting that stuff, started communicating more, and that wasn't happening at the beginning. We were telling our guys, hey, you should communicate, and maybe you should tell them. Some of them did really well at that. Others a little maybe hesitant to, because it's like, how does that look? We're going to tell them like their price just went up by 6 figures in 2 weeks, and I still can't even tell them the price until the stuff ships. So it's been a nightmare of dealing with escalation and what the price is going to be. At the end of where we stand today, we're making headway in that communication. I feel like we're being honest and at the forefront, trying to open the door for people to call us if they got a question, to give them the straightforward answer of, hey, what's the deal? What's my lead time? What am I paying? And I can't always tell them what they're going to pay. I can tell them what they're telling us. It's not always fun. I'll tell them, okay, this is how the contracts have been working, that how we get them specified in the contract. But we're still at the mercy of raw materials getting made for roofing materials, plus shipping and freight with diesel prices going up. It's been a mess. Hopefully it levels out next year, but I think we learned how to deal with the situation.
I want to lean in a little further into that because if you're listening, you're like, yeah, supply chain, we all dealt with it. Andy's look different. I remember probably 6 months ago in an EDP update where you were saying, how do I run a business and effectively run contracts? And I'm paraphrasing what you said. When you don't know the price of the material for the job until it shows up, if it shows up. Yeah. Did I get that wrong?
No, you're right. And most of all our contracts are probably similar to what everybody deals with. They're lump sum.
Right.
Hey, here's the price. Force majeure, sometimes it would apply or didn't apply. But yeah, I mean, it was super frustrating. I mean, internally, taking it home, talking to other people in the business, so frustrating. Ghost orders, people were just placing orders.
Oh, I heard about that, yeah.
And you have manufacturers willing to take orders for material for projects that didn't even exist. They were just placing an order on a job they were bidding and then just, hey, we'll take it in, or they cancel it. Well, that fluctuated how much supply was needed and inventory. So if you had a large job, roofing job, and 4 people place the same order, now all of a sudden you got 3 times, 4 times the amount of material you need in process being ordered.
For the same building.
And you just take it away. Oh, that's great because, we'll move all these orders up. Well, it does nothing for the pricing. It only inflates it because it looks like a lot of supplies needed. And then
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
So the ghost orders were killing a lot of morale and a lot of trust in the industry.
Yeah.
Some of our planning and strategy revolved dealing more directly with the manufacturer as opposed to distribution, because then that alleviates somebody in the middle. And so during the heavy points of these times, it was not good to have another person involved. And there's been some allocation methods. The industry tried to do its best. I think every industry has no ill will. But yeah, it very, very, I mean, I'm sure in the EDP meetings, it was like, God, throwing my hands up. Somebody help.
Yeah.
Preston brought up some stuff at Baker that they were trying to do, trying to get some requirements and agreements with the manufacturers. We've tried that some in the past. Not very receptive. I hadn't checked back with him. It's the people that have the raw materials and the manufacturers are holding a lot of the keys to this.
Totally.
And it never really helped as you're going through this pain and suffering. You know, they're posting on their LinkedIn, hey, we made record revenue, record profits. And you're sitting here going, I just took a $500,000 hit of I can't recover this on this material.
Yeah.
You know,
and why would they want to change if they're throwing up banner years?
Yeah. Yeah. If that's our company, and we're making tons of money, you're probably not going to change a whole lot.
Not a top initiative.
But, you know, I always told most of the people we deal with, like, hey, I forgive, but I don't forget. Mm-hmm. So I'll forgive you for this time. I know but I don't forget who treated us right.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying that you had to give me the material, but treat me right. Make sure that my order was placed. Make sure you told me when it was coming, and try to do the best you can for me. Like, just be a good person.
Yeah.
Don't be used car salesman, air quote.
That's right.
Really just be a good person. We're all going to get through it. Everybody's, besides the manufacturers, I think they made tons of money. But I think every roofing contractor in the business that we deal with was in the same boat. We all lost money, and it was tough. Some companies didn't make it through. We're fortunate that we did.
Yeah.
We made some good contracts, negotiated some good contracts, and was able to make headway where it lessened the loss.
Upstream, you mean?
Yeah.
How far upstream was that fish swimming to? Like, as I taking out the middleman, slicing through the distributors, trying to get directly manufacturers, that is a mitigation strategy that I'm sure was somewhat effective. Mm-hmm. But how about the other direction?
We dealt with quite a few owners.
Yeah, that's been my experience.
And also we had several owners that when we were dealing with the manufacturer, they're talking to owners as well. They might have a deal or they're trying to work with architects, and they're advising them, hey, go find a roofing contractor. Well, luckily we stayed in good graces with several of those, and they said, okay, we got to go find somebody because we just got to get it placed in order. And so that would get to the owner. The owner just says, hey, you got your guy? Good. I mean, there was jobs that maybe we didn't have to competitively bid because they just needed the order placed, and we work out the rest of it. So full circle, the relationships that you work through on this hard time really made the difference. I mean, we don't probably have half of our roofing revenue that we have today without those relationships that we built over the last year and a half.
And the relationships that you built over the past couple of decades where they know you, they know your heart, they know your character. Correct. And when you're telling them something, I don't know about you, but I was surprised with how many general contractors were willing to step up and help.
Yes.
Like I would call first and be like, hey man, 40% increase overnight. Like the prices, I know what I signed, but they're changing the game on us. And like with my shoulders up, like a sliced golf ball is about to hit a window, I slide that email over. And they're like, yeah, we're going to help you, man. We don't want you to die on this job. A
lot of the good people we deal with, too, they knew what they needed to do. They have the experience dealing with the owners. They're putting in, the escalation and allowances to build in for this, knowing that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Those are the partners that we've always loved working with.
Yeah. That wasn't everyone.
It wasn't always everyone. No. Yeah.
But they're more than I anticipated stepped up.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's taken the whole community to get through here because it's not just roofing. It's glass. It hit everybody. And so it's really taken everybody, leaning on everybody to really boost it up. We all complained about it in our EDP or whatever calls or lunches. Hey, we don't know what to do. I felt like we were in a bad situation because we didn't know the price till it shipped.
That's crazy.
So we had placed a PO and like, okay, well, it's going to show up in 9 months. And so you didn't know if another freeze hit, a hurricane hit, whatever might else happen, war could jack up the price. You might have saw 5-6 price increases from the time we placed the order to the time we took delivery of unanticipated, increases. So it was rough, but we all needed each other, and we're all going to get through it.
You mean, do you anticipate it leveling out, or is we still got 18 months of shakiness?
As long as we don't hit like crazy freeze or anything like that shuts down the plants making it, we probably got about 6 months for it to level out.
Is your stuff local or is it coming from overseas?
It's all local.
Yeah.
But the raw material that makes TPO membrane, insulation, a lot of the adhesives for the insulation, it's the same stuff they put in car parts.
So we're fighting over one little whatever.
The roofing for this same raw material, I'm probably going to get it completely wrong, but I'll be plus or minus like 5%, but it's like 3% of that raw material goes to roofing industry. 97% of it goes to all these other industries. So as big as a player we think it is, it's not a grand player in the whole grand scheme of things. So it's not like, hey, we'll just go buy more stuff. No, we can't really do it. They're rationing it out and allocating it.
Weren't they like saying like, hey, and I'm going to butcher this too, like top 3 insulation, most popular ones, that's the only ones we're making.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So if it's 4-inch, got to deal with it.
Same thing with roof membrane. Sometimes they weren't even making white. You think about it in Texas, like, what roof is not putting on white membrane? Like, we're only making grays on this line for the next 3 months. And so it'd postpone. Maybe it's a thickness. Hey, we're not making that thickness that you want on this special project. So when it came to very specific items, it was tough to get.
Were you guys working as a AEC team to like lean in and say, okay, look, it's spec'd at white. all I can get is gray. We're going to be cool with gray, like that conversation going on too.
There was tons of that, and it came from all levels. Honestly, the manufacturers all got together and said, hey, at this time, we don't care if you're using my screws and somebody else's insulation and somebody else's membrane. Whoever's membrane it was, we'll warrant it all.
Oh, sweet.
So they did kind of work together. Some of them have defected back to like, you better buy my stuff. I mean, that's how they make money. But if you were able to get somebody else's screws that wasn't, say, Carlisle or Firestone or something, one of these roofing guys, Sarnafil, if you didn't get one of their screws like in the past, like it wasn't part of their warranty. If you just had the screw, that was good.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the other part, screws and plates. I mean, you could not get metal products to actually install a roof.
Just 100% kit of parts.
That was like, yeah. So that might be 12 months at its worst case. We're still dealing with some deck board that goes for the roof systems. They're 6 to 9 months out. Everything else is kind of squeezed back to 6 months. They're still not guaranteeing pricing right now.
Man.
But I did put my last post was pretty cool. Like we actually had a decrease in like shipping prices. So
I saw that.
At least one manufacturer put that out.
Yeah.
And I'm credit where credit's due. I mean, some are going to help out more than others and pass on savings as it gets better. I look for more of that from the industry. And
just as a function of everything normalizing again, like it starts to reach some equilibrium, and then somebody will say, you know what I was charging you $1 for, now it's 90 cents, and it starts to like level back down.
Yeah. Hopefully by next year, like there's going to be somebody that says, I'm going to guarantee you your price. And it's only going to take one.
Yes.
And from that point on, there'll be some normality to it.
Yeah.
Where, hey, everybody's going to, they'll hold my price when I place the PO. Okay, well, I guess we have to too. And so then there's a snowball effect of kind of getting out of what we did the last 2 years.
Isn't it funny how rapidly it snowballed the other direction?
Oh, gosh.
Though? And I mean, I've heard this story across tons of different, all the trades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is all it took was one person to say, you know what, we're not going to give you 45 days anymore. We're going to give you 15 days net. Or we're not, and then the other vendors are like, wait a minute, me too.
Yeah. Yeah. They all pile in. As soon as the word gets around really fast in this industry, no matter what niche you're in, it does get around, and they start all operating the same.
I'm hopeful for the industry as a whole. Like we reach some normalization level in the next 12 months or whatever, recession issues notwithstanding. But
luckily, Dallas has been really great. I oversee our Dallas and Oklahoma market, but knowing that we have offices in Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Austin's blowing up with a lot of the tech stuff. But Dallas, there's so many great opportunities here. I think it's a lot just the people, the state. We're talking on election day, so I know it's not when it's going to get released, but there's a lot of things that go into how well the city and the state performs in construction, and there's a lot of signs that look to some positivity, at least in our Dallas market.
Yeah, that's the markers too.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Kev.
I remember I don't know if it was the first one, but one of your first one, you put that post out there, and I remember jumping in like, I got your back, dude. Let me know if you want to talk, before I knew what you were doing. And then I was like, oh, he's leveling the playing field. I get what he's doing.
There's some of that. Some of it was
call it out
manufacturers. But then, I also had good friends in the general contracting world that would look me in the face and be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard this before. I'm like, dude, it's been going on for like a year.
Yeah.
And so we were still having these same conversations. And some of it, I like the word ignorance. I learned it. But to me, it's not an insult. It means that they just don't know.
That's right.
So to me, definition, it was leveling out some of the knowledge out there. Hey, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is, when it comes out, how we get it, and where we're at.
Yeah. Because both sides are on LinkedIn.
Most of the time, yeah. They're all there, and that I have quite a few people that I'm connected with. So hopefully they're reading valuable stuff and not watching the TikTok videos on there. But it was valuable stuff that we were trying to
dance here, Andy.
That I was trying to put out there so that inform what's going on. Take away misinformation. This is what it is. If you want me to send what the manufacturer sent you, I don't have a problem sharing it. This is the life I'm living and the world we're living in. Everybody should know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've inverted the whole like typical podcast pyramid here. So we'll kind of spin it in reverse. But as you think through like those challenges over the last 18 months, has it been 2 years plus or minus? Yeah. What as you look back, like, man, here's a couple things you learned from that, or ideas for going forward, or some little nugget in there that you've been like, we did that really well.
Communicate. It's all communication. our industry we're in, family, whatever it might be that you're dealing with, there's usually a lack of communication. We're not communicating clearly. We're not making sure that, hey, when I tell you something that I'm saying, hey, do you understand? We're not confirming the conversation. We're usually scared to sit back and like assume. We take way too many assumptions like, well, everybody knows that the material's gone up. Like, we shouldn't have to really tell them. That was some of the things that we talked about within our company. But, this started at COVID time all the way through. It's all communication, taking away misinformation, communicate through it, and have honest, true conversation.
Yeah.
Don't sugarcoat anything. You sugarcoat something just to get a job, it's going to bite you.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're going back and asking money, or you're going to lose money on the job. So to me, communication clears up, I'd say, all issues that could come about. So that's the probably one big word and one big takeaway is just communicate. And if you communicate, like we're sitting here today, you create relationships.
Yep.
Which is, that's a magnitude. You went through something, you communicated through it. You could be in a dogfight, but you communicated. You didn't just walk away. And then you create this relationship. I would say most of my longest term relationships are some people that I had it out with. Really, we didn't call each other names, but we had a disagreement and we worked it out. And it's like, okay, I know where he stands at. He knows where I stand at. We know how we're going to operate. And now we can do this better. I think no different than probably my wife or anybody else's wife. Like, you communicate through that stuff, you know where each other stands and how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's life too.
Those are all really good points. That's been sort of my my read, I should say, as we've had the different conversations around that supply chain issue. But it kind of boils back to my high horse, which has just been communicating well. We as an industry don't do it well. Through those last 18 to 24 months, that is an opportunity to like embrace that conversation and build those relationships and spend the next 20 years like crushing it. There's a great opportunity. And Mike Sorelli said it when we recorded with him. It was like, if you thought 2020, have I said this before on here or was I just reflecting on it?
No, I think you have.
I said it on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you wasted, like if 2020 passed and you didn't like reflect on it, like you've wasted it. There was a great opportunity to see places to grow there. That was sort of like the opening tag, and same thing here. Like,
if you didn't grow from everything that we've experienced the last couple of years, I'm kind of wore out talking about it in some sense, but you should have learned something. I don't care how old you are. You should have learned something and how to live life better or some life instance that you can take and grow upon it.
Yeah. Communication and proactivity. When it balances out, if you could still keep that same high level you did in survival mode, oh my goodness, you could be a killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep it.
It levels out. Yeah, you have to keep it.
Don't assume anything.
Take assumptions away. Yeah. Yeah. And I grew up on the operations side through my life at Chamberlin. So communication has always been the key. I was an estimator that just did the takeoff or a salesperson, and I love those positions. But to me, in operations, there's a building getting built every day.
Oh, yeah.
You got to communicate. Our field guys have to communicate. You have to have this relationship and worldly order of how everything goes together. And you imagine, like, I'm going to say deaf people out there and they couldn't communicate. It'd be really hard to build a building.
Yeah.
How would you explain to people putting up glass how it all connects? Oh, you draw a picture. Yeah, we have plans already, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, we got plans. No. We have to communicate beyond plans, specs, contracts. All this stuff in the middle is really how it gets built.
That's right.
The coordination part.
Yeah.
Done on schedule and everything else.
Yeah. I love that. I love just preaching the communicate portion of it.
Yeah.
I think that is what just differentiates really good companies from companies that, well, let me say that differently. If you can communicate really well, that means we're going to be in the foxhole together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're not communicating really well, that means you're in the other foxhole. We're shooting at each other.
Yes.
And that's a game changer for our industry, is for us to all begin to communicate better and get in the same foxhole together, and not be each other's enemies. So I hope that we've preached it. We have been preaching it a little bit through this phase. I've kind of been on a communication high horse for a couple of years, but that's an excellent lesson learned from.
If you don't communicate your intent, somebody's going to make it for you. Kind of like if you don't schedule your day out, somebody's going to schedule something for you. So it's same concept. Like if you don't communicate what your intent is or what you're planning on doing on this job or this day, somebody's going to make it for you.
All facets of life.
Yep, absolutely.
That was I forget who the quote was from, but that was a daily motivation, either this week or last week. It must have been last week. That like, if you're not setting your culture, somebody's setting for you. Your career, somebody's setting it for you. Your family life, like,
don't walk through life being somebody else's minion.
That's right.
Do it yourself.
That's right. Be purpose driven.
Absolutely.
All right, Benjamin Button this thing.
Benjamin Button, yeah, we'll go the opposite way. So unusual story of having been at Chamberlin forever, right? Like not like literally forever, but you're like my grandpa. You've worked at one company forever. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Tell us a Chamberlin story as to why that's the case and how you ended up there and all that stuff.
So 18 years. I answered first off, I have to go back to like A&M and kind of younger life. My dad worked civil service. He was in the Navy and worked civil service for the government his whole life. So I think there's an establishment and a pattern always built. My mom worked as an insurance underwriter. She worked at, I think, 2 different places, but pretty much until she retired. So there's an establishment from my parents of like, there's a dedication, go do your job, do it well. You'll get taken care of. You can live a decent life. So I think a lot of it was instilled from my parents, and even I saw it in my grandparents. I saw it in my aunt and uncle. And so,
hold on, I'm gonna Benjamin Button this thing because let's just go way back.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, where's home, and tell us about your parents. We'll just stir the whole story up.
No,
here.
that's fine. Grew up in Belton, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all had another guest on here from Belton. Y'all remember?
Kyle Kelly.
No.
Dang it.
Jason Evelyn.
MW Builders. Yeah.
Yeah. So I made a list of all the people from Belton that is in the construction industry. And
it's you and Jason.
No, we're kind of a hotbed, man. There's me, Jason. Jason also has another Jason that works for him that's within a close family friend that's down in Austin, Jason Oldham. Matt Vitek, we used to work for Lee Lewis. I graduated with him. Brent Winkler, I graduated high school with him. He used to work for Beck, and now he works for Huckabee. And then I have some other close friends that I grew up with, Kyle and Hugh, that work for D.R. Horton Homes. And I'm sure there's a bunch more, but these are all within probably like the 3 or 4 or 5 year span from Belton High School, a town of like 25,000 people.
Yeah. The Belton Construction Bunch.
I guess so. It's now everybody's going to be recruiting out of Belton High School.
It's a real Belton suspenders for the construction industry.
Do you get a discount for that?
Yeah. You like that?
So I grew up in Belton, really small town. Used to have a rural route. So I lived up in the country on a gravel road.
Okay, hold on, pause. Belton's like Temple.
Yeah, it's south of Temple. Like if you get to Temple and you blink, you probably already went through Belton. It's like 4 exits. So grew up there. Sorry, I kind of lost a little bit of my thought there.
You lived out in a rural route, in the country.
So very family oriented. You go down this like 1 mile road, 3/4 mile road. Get about 100 yards down. My grandparents lived there. Another 100 yards, me and my mom, dad, sister lived there. And then like 50 yards from there, my aunt and uncle and my cousin lived there. So we had a family on the road that we were just tightly connected.
Dirt road,
gravel and dirt. So lots of shoeless days walking up and down the dirt road as a kid.
Like trying to catch crayfish out of a ditch, kind of shoeless?
No, we didn't have crayfish, but just I shoot rabbits and birds with my BB gun. I shot a water meter once, killed the crap out of it. Had to repay that. So
I feel like that was a mistake. Yeah,
it was. It took a lot of months of a chore duty to pay off that one. But my parents did make me pay it back. Yeah. So they instilled with me a lot of good values of just work hard, do things right. Family was around, very family oriented, very grandparents were the drivers of our faith, taking us to church. So started in Belton, obviously played sports, talked about basketball, but played soccer growing up, baseball, basketball, grew up through there. Ended up just playing basketball my last couple years in high school, and then played up at Richland Junior College.
Yeah.
We won a national championship in '99, so that was really cool, really good bonding moment for a team of just random people.
Yeah, right.
And it's kind of like work. You just gather a bunch of random people and get them to play well, and they can do good things. So I saw that firsthand. Then from there,
are we exactly the same age? When did you graduate from high school?
98.
Okay, 97. But I was 99. Felt like that was. I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost.
So from Richland, I wish I had a great story for my A&M friends that like I always wanted to be an Aggie and this and that, but I didn't know really where I wanted to go. I wanted to be an architect, and some of the schools I had opportunity to continue to play basketball with did not have architecture programs.
Gotcha.
So I chose to hang them up, and I kind of made that decision way before, probably like leaving high school, that I was going to leave the game. The game wasn't going to leave me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to be an architect. The schools that I had other places to go just didn't have it. So I applied to Tech and A&M and that school in Austin. And
Come on.
I never even walked A&M's campus. I never went to Tech's campus. It just didn't do it. I just said, okay, I'll go to A&M. So
You should come up. We could do it now if you want. You should come up with like a better story for all your A&M friends though about how you just couldn't wait to dip your Aggie ring at the chicken or something.
yeah, I just don't have it. I mean, I did it on a whim, but I'm very thankful. I'm Aggie through and through. My wife did not go there, but she wants our son to go there. Great place. Can't say enough about it. I just don't have the glory story of like my parents went there and had all these friends that were going. So we all went down there and had a great time. I mean, I literally went down there. I had a high school buddy that also was playing basketball at Temple College. He decided to stop playing as well. So hey, we're going to go to A&M. Let's go room together.
Yeah.
So I knew one other person when I went down there. Otherwise, I was just going to go down there and go to architecture school, try to go be an architect. And so we roomed together. I spent 2 years in junior college, 4 years at A&M. So I had a good time at A&M.
That math works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But about, I don't know, a year or two after getting into A&M, the architecture program, I realized that there's a lot of people that really want to be an architect. I was not one of them. I'd already made it to upper level, but they had a design build degree that you still did some architecture work, but it was more construction based. So I decided to take that route once I got into upper level, and I wouldn't change anything. I mean, probably let it go a couple of years ago. So for like 15 years, I said, I'm going to go get my architect license. Just what I wanted to do. It was a goal I had. I wanted to do it. As I get older, I realized that it's not going to mean a whole lot. Yeah, I wanted to do it, but it's a good goal to leave behind. It just not going to mean anything.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to do it because I said I wanted to do it type deal. So I've kind of put that behind. I might revisit that one day just to, hey, I can stamp something and put that on the shelf and never do it. But just because I said I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So go through construction. Just like I picked college, I did not go. I think I went to one career fair, didn't intern. I don't have a good story of how to find a career.
Sometimes it finds you, man.
That's right.
So I was driving up to Dallas with a buddy. I had a Dallas Morning News, and I see an ad I think I was driving up to go to another interview and see an ad for construction project coordinator. Okay, email or fax your resume. So I do that.
For those of you younger listeners, that's a machine that you used to run papers through.
Yeah.
Back-to-back weeks with that exact story.
Was it really?
Paper ad with Terry to fax resume.
Oh, right. Yeah.
18 years ago, the fax machine was hot, and it was hardcore in the construction industry. If your office didn't have one, I don't know how you did business.
The pressure cooker of submitting proposals to multi-GC at the deadline. You're like, 261.
Yeah.
You're waiting for the next one. You're like, I have 8 GCs to send this to.
Hey, at least you got the deal that says, okay, it went through.
Yeah.
There was the reply that you don't get with necessarily an email these days.
We would save those at the firm.
Staple them together.
Staple them on the back. The fax. Do you have a fax confirmation sheet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gosh.
Did you fax the wrong GC proposal?
It was less than a week ago. I had to explain to a couple of people at the office because we still have a fax machine for, I think, like medical reports or something that come through for injuries.
Yeah.
They still have to send them, and they needed to send something over, and they're like, how do we use this thing? I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Gather around. We're going to learn how to use the fax machine because I might be the only one in the office that knows how to use it. I've been there a long time. I answered.
So did you fax it in?
I think I faxed in my resume.
Yeah, you did.
Luckily enough, and this is where the love of A&M comes. The girl, the marketing coordinator, Shauna, she had pulled my resume. She was an Aggie as well, and was like, she told me later, it's like, I found an Aggie, and he was in construction or architecture, and we got to do it. My boss, David, who hired me at the time, actually graduated the same degree from A&M with environmental design, and he's gotten into construction. So So yeah, I luckily got an interview, got through the interview process, hired on. I started as a project coordinator, and with all the fancy stuff that we have to do nowadays with ping pong tables and stuff, I got to sit in the server room.
Oh yeah.
It was
Milton.
So hot.
Milton.
Yes, I was Milton. I had I didn't think I gave me a red stapler though.
Milton also wasn't getting paid, was
Dude,
he?
could you imagine me officing in the server room?
Oh god.
No.
The last 8 minutes.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, that's correct.
So I had like a corner desk, and you're having to roll out plans. Like I had no room at all. The lady would come in every morning or afternoon to swap out server disks for backup, and I'm like, okay, and file cabinets that weren't mine. Luckily, I think we had a project manager leave, so I finally got to move into like a normal office. But I've always been a person, hey, give me some challenges. And I feel like I'm not lying when I'm saying I'm going to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I spent weekends up there. I spent weekends at home. I mean, I knew what was going on my projects. Like to believe so. I was still ignorant of kind of how the industry worked because I'd go to battle and like, we got to fight this out. Everything had to be a fight. And I did that a lot whenever I was younger. I felt like not that necessarily I had something to prove, but I wanted not necessarily be right. I was fighting for my team and for my company.
Yeah.
The bigger fight that I see nowadays is that you don't need a fight. I mean, we're all in it together. This is a long career, and if you're gonna stay in it, better make friends as many as you can. So I fought a little bit, kind of worked my way up. I was a project coordinator, project manager, operations manager. 7-8 years ago, became vice president of operations just for our waterproofing division, and started getting involved in Oklahoma. And then it was about 2 months before the actual official COVID start. March of 2020. Me and my buddy went to a golf tournament, celebrated our 40th birthdays. Yeah, this is great. I got a promotion. This is awesome. I got promoted to general manager, vice president. So I started running the office for Dallas and Oklahoma, across sales and our maintenance department and roofing. So I picked up a bunch of divisions and things I hadn't been involved with. And then a month later, COVID hit. And wow, what an experience. And when you talk about learning something, get promoted to learn a bunch of new people, and I'd known them.
Yeah.
Don't know what they do, don't know how to manage them, and then start trying to work with them on, do I work from home? Do you come into work? What's our strategy?
How are we going to work in the field?
Yeah. So that's a learned lesson right there. I mean, that's the one thing I took away was just taking that new position and just really diving in. You had to really learn people really fast as you're making these decisions about all the things we had to.
Lead up to that point, and we'll get into lessons learned on that as well. What got you there? So, like, what are some of the things that you learned from mentors or situational awareness, seeing around people, or lessons learned the hard way? Like, why do you think you kept moving up in the company? Like, looking back at that.
Even though I was in operations, I think I still had a little bit of a sales job to do. I never think of myself as a salesperson. To me, I was always about relationships, and luckily my company would allow me to take people to lunch. It's a great time to meet people, get to know them, talk to them. I just became friends with them. I got invited to people's open house, housewarming parties and weddings. And these are people that work for other companies. Just got to know them, got to know people. And so all that led up to was I developing business in a way? But I never really looked at it that way. I looked at it as this is cool. Why I get to know people, and there's guys go to Texo events and some other events, and you get to go hang out with the people too.
Yeah.
I mean, so it really evolved around people and relationships. Finding out what I could do to make their job easier. It made it about them. And then usually after you made their job easier, they'll be like, hey, can I help you out? So that reciprocation it started pretty early.
Yeah.
What waterproofing is and what roofing is, the technical side of things, there's a lot to learn in any trade. But the thing that I think anybody can work on is just work on getting to know people.
Yeah.
And that's a struggle I think we have even hiring today. is getting people to just, hey, go get out. I'm giving you a free open checkbook to take somebody to lunch. And it's still somewhat hard to get people to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a comfort level sometimes. And I think it's generational. I think it's how your upbringing. I think, it was Terry just recently talked about like seeing grandparents just talk and, always talking to people. That's my granddad. I mean, during the summers, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents and we'd go to HEB. Now we have them up here, but down there, it was, we'd need like two things. We'd be there for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
My grandfather would find somebody he knew or just find somebody there and chat with them.
Yeah.
And talk to them. And sometimes that person needed a chat. Sometimes my grandpa needed a chat. And as a kid, I saw it. I sometimes didn't always appreciate it because I wanted to get home and watch, The Price is Right or open up some baseball cards or count my baseball cards or ride my bike some more. But I think those impressions that as adults, kids see is a lot more impactful than I think we give it credit for.
That's right.
No matter where we went. And then I see it in my dad today, same way. My uncle was in sales and he does it. My other uncle does it. I mean, as a family, I've always just seen us just kind of like talk to strangers, just ask them questions, get to know them. I'm kind of a pretty laid back, introverted kind of guy sometimes around the office, probably more just laid back. I don't know if I'm introverted, but I see people and I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? Good day today, right? Oh, it's okay. What do you mean it's all right? We're living, so I think it just having some going back to communications, but just talking to people is fun.
Yeah.
Creating those relationships.
And so like the subscript to that was, and then I had to learn the widget. But eventually that doesn't matter as much when you're leading people. When you're a general manager, you're depending on people to know that widget. Yeah. You're leaning into your leadership with them. And it's fun. It's fun how like your tribes of life start intersecting more and more where like it isn't just my work tribe and my personal tribe. They're actually the same thing. Yeah. They're starting to merge together. So when I know Andy's family and he's going through it, like my heart hurts. Like, what can I do? Like, I don't care if there's no agenda. My agenda is to help Andy.
Yeah.
And that's so powerful in your career, more powerful than I even think we're giving it credit for. Yeah. Like it's life changing.
Yeah. You have to work hard at the widgets at first.
Yeah. Of course.
There's a gauge. It's like, hey, work hard at the widgets, but definitely by the time you start managing people, you got to forget about the widgets.
Yep.
I mean, the widgets, there's somebody else worrying about the widgets and how many he's made and counting them and all the technical specs around them. You better worry about people. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, I can't function our office without the relationships and the people we have.
That's right.
And and every person's motivated differently. You got to find what motivates them, how to talk to them, how to really get some juices going, see when they're having a bad day and how to uplift them and just get them through it. How many people are my morning people? How many is my afternoon people, right? I mean, we all have them. Like some guys are there, gals, they're there early in the morning. They're cracking away. They're loving it, and then they're out at 4:30. Great. Then there's other people that show up at 9 and they're my night owls, and you can't treat everybody the same because it just doesn't work that way.
That's right.
But you got to treat everybody fairly. And
that's honestly, really well said. Because you can't, and I'm not going to say it again. You said it best.
Well, I even hate the saying that says like treat others like you want to be treated.
No,
that's crap.
People don't like to be treated like I want to be treated. People aren't motivated the way I'm motivated. People don't do what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some of us get kicked in the butt to get going. Some people like to get yelled at, and that motivates them. Other people just want a pat on the back or a hug or whatever it might be. So
some people just want a thanks.
Yeah.
That's been a lesson I've learned over the last decade of my life is a lot of people just want to be told thank you.
Yeah. Acknowledgement in some way.
Yeah.
There's so many ways, but you can't treat everybody like you want to be treated.
Yeah.
I think that's the worst. I'm going to go on record. That's the official worst statement I think I've ever heard in my life.
Well, but
it sounds good.
If you elevate it up a little bit from the tactics, maybe that's where because everybody wants to be treated fairly. Yeah. Everybody wants to be treated with respect.
Correct.
That fairness and the way they're respected, the way they feel valued, down at the tactical level feels different.
Yes.
But at this level, I'm holding my hand up high.
Yeah.
maybe it is it's sort of universal. Like everybody wants these things. It feels different to each other, but
if you're treating everybody like absolute crap, that's good advice. Like, do you like being treated like crap nonstop every day?
Exactly.
Stop it.
You mentioned something earlier. I want to dig in there a little bit about, and I think I'm going to do the younger generation thing is perhaps not as inclined to go grab lunch with somebody. Like, here's your corporate card. Go make some friends. Go make relationships. Go that. Yeah. It seems like they're perhaps less inclined. And I don't know if it's generational or if it's just a subset of people or whatever. But from your vantage point, what's the impediment there? Like, why do people push against that or reluctant to do that?
I think they're used to doing stuff via like email and text and sometimes not even over the phone. I mean, you don't want to paint everybody with a broad brush because they're not all the same. Just like we don't want to be painted either, but there are some generational differences. I mean, I think as we keep going along, it's harder and harder to probably have in-person, conversations. Everybody wants to do things remotely or via email. Emails, I mean, you can type them up and read them and it sounds great, but somebody's going to take it differently.
Yeah.
So I think there's some just the way it was kind of brought up. I mean, we had a landline. When I grew up, you had to have those conversations. I mean, how many times do I see people in the grocery store like my grandpa talking to somebody? Doesn't happen very often.
Well, no, because you're just you order your groceries online and you're picking them up outside right now.
Yeah,
we're
so it's just not work. It's I think across a lot of society where we just don't understand really how to communicate and that it means something to just find random people and talk to them. And it's not a waste of time. I mean, you're going to get in what you invest in it. So if I go find Kevin and I don't know him and he's very random and it's just like, hey man, what's going on? I saw you last week at this event. What do you do? Tell me about it. I mean, I'm going to learn about him. He's going to learn about me. We might be able to create a friendship. I don't know that there's a immediate knowledge of, hey, that's an investment to some of the younger generation because it's like, I think that maybe the go-to is like, well, I'll just read their LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
And I don't want to paint everybody as a broad brush, but I think that's studies are showing it. They're writing articles about it. I think there's some of it of just the communication and eagerness and there's not something deep inside that just like, I want to know about that guy. Mm-hmm. I need to know him. And we see that a lot in EDP. I think we have a lot of the similar, like, I need to know that guy and I want to learn more. I hope the younger generations kind of learn from that because I think we learned it from older generations as well.
Yeah.
So that I think it's hopefully just a period in time where they just, hey, this is just them for now, but they understand in order to get somewhere else and move up the ladder, they got to be able to do these other things. And it's just me just kind of egging and pushing and prodding to say, hey, these are the things you're missing. You can know all the widgets and you can know how to craft the perfect email and write perfect English and whatever else you want to do. But until you can get in front of somebody and you can become their friend and get a relationship going so that when you need something or they need something and they're calling you, that's taking the next step.
Yeah.
Andy's spitting wisdom.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I don't even want to isolate it to the younger generation. I think all generations struggle with that because I could think through my leadership of like the classic, I couldn't get a hold of him. I'm like, yeah, did you call him? Nope. Just they didn't respond to an email yet. Yeah. Every generation that has done that. And I think it's just the comfort zone. Like growth happens outside your comfort zone. You might be a little nervous to come on this podcast today, but you're willing to go outside your comfort zone to just share your story. And it's not about you. It's in the hopes that you can help somebody out. And maybe somebody from Chamberlin's listening that I didn't know that about Andy. Now I do. Now I'm going to approach him and it's going to be a little more comfortable for me to approach him.
Yeah. After 18 years in the industry, I still, in a big crowded room, man, I get butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable. What am I doing? Oh, I know that. Oh, there's a couple of people. I'll go find them. And then I have to tell myself, like, I know them. I'll see them. I will go find and seek them out and say hi. But let me go find somebody I don't know.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. Yeah. It really is. It's growing your tribe. It's growing your friends. I mean, that's life.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to kind of die alone. Nobody wants nobody to show up to their funeral. I'm not trying to create this group of people that show up for a party at the end of my life. But at the end of the day, like I would like to, just as other people on the podcast have said, and you guys, you want to create some sort of lasting impact. You want some people to go, man, that was a good dude,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and maybe that's what's on the headstone. He's a good dude, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. You know, impacting other people, my family. I mean, that's really the more we're 40s now, so we're about halfway done. You know, and you start. I think I didn't really realize it, but in the last couple of years, it's like, man, you got to live life. You got to have fun. You got to enjoy it. So I've kind of switched some of my mantra of how I manage at work is like, I don't care. We're going to figure out the widget stuff, but we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to come here and hate work every day. And so I don't care if it's ping pong or you're going to come see me or, hey, we get some cookies in the break room. If there's some other thing that livens it up, but I want us to have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, making money's fun, but when we really have fun, it doesn't matter if we're making money or what. We're just enjoying each other's company.
And the funny thing is, they feed each other.
Mm-hmm.
So the more fun you have, the more natural people can come alive and be their true weird self.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're enjoying what they do. They might be picking up that phone a little more.
Yeah. And if we're having fun, we're typically making money.
Yeah.
And from a business standpoint, yeah, they go hand in hand.
That's
For sure.
interesting. I mean, it's not unique. I've heard that before, but yeah, if we're having fun, we're making money. That has like cascading, relational, cultural, organizational impact. That statement, but
yeah,
for
like
you
part of my fun's I like to take people play golf.
right,
I'm having fun. They're having fun. What does that lead to? Probably more work.
right, BD.
You know, I'm not taking it off or putting a bid together, but I'm doing what I can. Just create a fun atmosphere for myself or others, clients, just to have fun and enjoy life. And people, our president that's now on our board, since retired, people want to do business with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they said that for 18 years, and that's been impactful a lot. Just to go create friends. You're going to do a lot of work if you can have a lot of friends. And if you think about it, the people we deal with have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I mean, it's us, it's the people in EDP, it's people within Texo, people within ASA that I deal with. I mean, we love doing work with each other and helping each other out.
I think sometimes I forget how old I am and how old I'm getting.
Yeah.
And we are starting to become the people we looked up to when we got into in the industry. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not,
Scary.
this isn't, I know it's not a pat on the back. It's
Freaking scary.
all those investments of 20 years of putting that time in. You start pointing and shooting certain people. Like, I want to get to know that guy. He's the best at what he does there with business development or whatever case. I want him in my circle.
Yeah.
And then you start building that up and all of a sudden all of your careers start raising up. It's trippy to reflect on, man.
Yeah, it's funny. It's scary, funny, all in one package. But it's enjoyable. I think we've all had a fun roller coaster ride throughout all the years. So it's usually a roller coaster ride. I think we talked earlier, like, I mean, even I mentioned it a little bit, like, you know, I battled a lot. I mean, I'm still in for a good fight every once in a while for a dispute, kind of keep me on my toes.
Yeah.
But some of these guys need to understand like what it means to have some of these, friendly disputes.
Yeah.
You know, the fourth phase of construction litigation, you know, hopefully it doesn't get there, but there's going to be disputes and how we resolve them is kind of where we stand and how we're looked at. And over the years, yeah, there's, I can probably list off 5 or 6 people pretty quick that I've found emails from when I'm an email like junkie. So I've stored a bunch of emails for 18 years and I've gone back because I've like, what's that guy's name? I'll search it. And I'll find some email and I'm like, man, I was a turd, you know, and I've reached out to people and I said, hey, man, this happened a long time ago. You probably don't have this email, but I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. This is not me today. Hopefully, you know, you can forgive me at some point. And some people I've never done business with them. And I don't know if they've held a grudge or not, but like that was me growing up. And everybody should probably have some sort of grow up story, just to show that you put yourself out there. Go and try to fail. Go try to make this stance on something. And if you fail, that's fine. You know, but, you know, I've had to reach back out and apologize to people. And it's funny, about half of them I've done to, they don't remember.
Yeah.
They didn't hold a grudge. You know, they didn't read it the same way I did, going back to emails and things. But they're just good people. They forgot about it. They didn't hold a grudge.
Yeah.
And so it's a good feeling. You know, that's the one that I put out and I'm like, I failed. I was pushing back and like, it didn't even mean anything. But there are some that do.
But it was a weight on your shoulders.
It was a weight on my shoulders. So I needed to reach back out to them, be like, man, we're different time, different life. Yeah. We're in it together, much different story. We're not both like project coordinators fighting over, oh, do I turn in my warranty now or in 3 weeks? Yeah. You know, like it's stuff, minuscule stuff.
Yeah. Have I ever told you my Tim Pletta story?
I don't know.
Does that sound familiar? Mm-mm. So I too I started practicing in 2004, and I thought that that's how you had to practice law. I was like angry, right? Yeah. Which played into like a lot of my own individual unique proclivities of being mad about things. But I had this case with this guy named Tim Pletta one time. And every time I got on the phone with him, he would yell at me. Every time. Yell at me every time. And so he was older than me. And so like I took it for like weeks. I took every time. And finally 1997, Stuart showed up. And Tim started getting at me on the phone, and I just uncorked. Like in a way that there's people who listening are like, oh no. And I won't.
Oh, Stuart uncorked? Oh no.
You saw uncorked Stuart the other day in the parking lot at El Phoenix. Like I can get uncorked. And I just let this dude have it. And it's like I got done and like was like full mic drop on like got you good and like silence.
Yeah.
On the phone. And Tim goes, hey man, I'm sorry if you thought that I was yelling at you all this time. He said, I listened to a lot of really loud rock music in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And
I can't hear myself talk.
I can't hear myself talk. And so if you think I've been yelling at you, wow. I'm really sorry. Followed by another really long period of silence where I was like, me too, man. Sorry about that.
You didn't ask him his favorite band.
Yeah. But I was too embarrassed. And I tell that story like with a little bit of joke in my step at this point.
Yeah.
But man, I hate that guy. I hate that guy who wanted to pick a fight every once in a while just because I needed the adrenaline shot of picking a fight with somebody or whatever.
And knowing people, you have to figure out. Some guys are, especially whenever I was green, a lot of older superintendents, they would do that to see if you're going to fight back.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you had to read the room and battle back. And after that, they're like, you cool, man.
Yeah.
You cool.
Yeah.
Like, we're all good. I mean, and some of that, maybe I'll circle back to basketball. Same way on basketball, Stuart. Yeah. We're loving basketball stories. But
come on.
I mean, I always played against older guys. But and being bigger, always some guys I played with were way bigger than me. Until you fought back, I mean, you had to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you needed to fight and then step out of the way and let them fall down.
Mm-hmm.
You strategically kind of play this basketball game of how much you push and how much you let it go. Same way today. I mean, I think you're playing against some big dogs, and sometimes you got to push back because you have to show them like you're just not going to be walked on.
That's right.
And then same way, like sometimes you got to like let the big dog just kind of run out of the way and just, see you later, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Let them go. And not that you're going to get walked on, but okay, you're just going to go off. I'll let you. And then when you're done, we can have a civil conversation. But maybe I learned it in basketball. I don't know, but it's same concept of just, you gotta battle. And I said it a little bit ago, but trying to get people to fail. That's probably the hardest thing that anybody wants to do is give them some failures so they can learn from them. If I'm just telling them what to do, I've been there 18 years. If I'm just telling them what to do and they're not making their own failures, they're not getting what they need out of it.
Yeah.
I'll help guide them along the way, try to keep them within some guardrails. But at the end of the day, everybody should go out and try to fail at something daily. Whether it be working out, getting up early, go running, something at work, go fail at something. Don't go jump off a building with no net or something. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
But do something small, like go push yourself. Fail. Know how the next time when somebody pushes back, how you adjust to it. If you never try or just get walked on, you're never going to change the course of action.
You remember Amy Stewart's episode? Do you remember what the tagline to her episode was? You don't remember.
High point. That's all.
Yeah, she was from High Point. Yeah. No, it was like fail fast, get up and run or something like that. Like the idea of like go so hard that you're going to fall down, you're going to fail, and then hop back up and keep going again. That's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And people are terrified of that idea. Like, I don't need a failure on my.
We don't need to have that on our resume.
No, we don't need that on our resume.
Yeah.
I sometimes, the roadmap deal, I sometimes take that in a literal sense. If it's my second time going somewhere and I relied on my Google Maps to get me there the first time, it'll drive my wife nuts. I'm like, she's like, why aren't you putting this in? I'm like, I got to learn it.
Yeah.
And I turn the map off and I get lost a little bit and then I get my way, but then I don't need my map the second time.
Yeah.
Such is life, man. Sometimes you got to manufacture some failure in order to learn.
Yeah, and drive around and just know the roads and, okay, well, this might happen, and I'll just go this way next time.
And it's a lot more peaceful nowadays since I don't swear anymore. But like when I would get lost, pre-sweargle, that steering wheel has been called some nasty things.
Well, so I'll take that little driving analogy and like try to like globally apply it, because if you haven't driven around all the roads, if you haven't mingled and chatted with folks and figured out what they're good at and you won't know how to get where you're going. Mm-hmm. Right? You won't know all the roads you can take if there's a roadblock. You won't know all the tools that you can use if you get into a spot. And so there is some great value in the wandering.
Yeah.
And just meeting and talking and chatting and learning and listening. And the wander of life there's a lot in it.
Absolutely.
What is it? Not all who wander are lost. Isn't that like Emerson?
That sounds
something like that.
Sounds poetic.
Principle.
I just love in this podcast journey, like there's seasons that pick up, and this is a season that we're talking about, like the cookie cutter approach. Everything's figured out for you. Talking about our kids and trying to manufacture adversity. Yeah. It's just a theme lately. Like we didn't have the simplicity of picking a college and the simplicity of finding your career. Like sometimes it's not fully baked, and all these people giving you strategies to get there. Sometimes you have to just walk through it. It's a little bit of a gauntlet,
and we don't have it all figured out. I mean, we're in leadership roles. And I think that's what I try to tell. I don't have it all figured out, man. I really don't. I've gotten here, hard work, perseverance, a little bit of luck, some good mentors, good people to bounce stuff off of. But, I mean, take a look at your situation. I mean, several months ago, right-hand turn, boom.
Yeah.
You change it.
Yeah.
And do you stay on that path? I guess you're figuring it out.
That's right.
But you might end up taking a left turn. You might continue doing it for forever, So you got to be willing to adjust and change and go down different paths. But, none of us have it all figured out for sure.
No.
I looked it up. It's Tolkien. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. There you go.
Love it.
It's Tolkien.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. When's he coming on the podcast?
He's dead.
Oh.
Isn't he?
300 years ago.
300 years ago.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? Tolkien's dead, right?
Never even heard of the guy.
Is he in construction?
Yeah.
What? Tolkien? Lord of the Rings?
Hobbit.
The Hobbit. Yeah, he died in
Rocky,
73. So he's not coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
If you pull that off. You tell me my guest hustle is top notch. Let's see what I can do.
Let's see what you can do. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go curveball, and then we'll get back onto something serious. But ice cream talk was a big part of us talking beforehand.
Yeah.
Hit me with some good ice cream recs here.
So we were talking ice cream. I love ice cream so much, and our family loves ice cream that my son has to draw a picture at school and tell us about our family, and ice cream makes the picture.
It's like on a leash, one of the pets.
Oh, it's and she goes, and I think he tells his teacher, like, why do you have ice cream? They're like, well, I'm a Wharton, so we all love ice cream.
It's our legacy.
It's a long line of ice cream lovers.
It's very true. Like, if you don't like ice cream in my family, I don't know that you're going to last very long. You might get ostracized, put out to pasture. But no, my favorite that we were talking about, and I try to find it at my local store. So if anybody sees it, let me know or pick up some, and I will come find you, and we'll do like a exchange on the side of the road if we need to. But
like a drug deal.
Yes. Yeah. But with ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it is oatmeal cream pie Bluebell, and it is unbelievably one of the best things that's ever happened in my life. Very jokingly. But no, it is probably – I put it in the top 2 or 3 ice creams I've ever had.
Right now your wife is like, I told you to be you, but not you.
That is true that we talked about that as well. I had the pep talk from my wife for sure. She's going to listen to this, and dude, don't be you, but don't be you. Like, don't talk about ice cream. Okay, well, we're talking about ice
bad,
cream.
yeah.
Stuart brought it
Vanilla.
up.
He did it.
Name is Andy, but I do not get a discount at Andy's Custard. Unfortunately, I keep trying to ask them, be like, any discount for a guy
Do
named
you actually
Andy?
ask?
I have asked before, and they've always told me no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Keep trying.
I will
Persevere.
I feel like I give you like 50 cents off. I don't know.
What do you think
Free
about a
cherry.
Frosty? Does that count as ice cream?
No. Yeah.
No.
No.
Isn't
Do you
that
dip
weird?
your fries in a Frosty?
No, because
No.
I'm not a teenage girl.
There's a lot of I would call them soft serves. I really just don't care for. I put Frosties they're okay, but like McDonald's ice cream, not so good. Sonic, no. Dairy Queen's solid. Freddy's custard, I like Freddy's. Andy's custard, any custard's pretty good. Take that in a heartbeat. Bluebell's number one. Like I was telling a story that the Listeria thing happened. I had like 3 half gallons, and I had no fear in the world. I still ate every bit of it, rationed it out, and then as soon as it came back online, of course, being at A&M, me and my dad go down to the football game, and they had just brought it out, but it was surrounded, like College Station, Brenham were the only places to get it. So we went to the football game. We stopped at H-E-B on the way out, and we bought our limit, bro.
You'll limit it out
We
on
limited
Bluebell.
it out on Bluebell. They had a limited too, and we almost wanted to find some people in the parking lot to see if they go back in there for us. Because it had been like, I don't know, a year since we've had Bluebell ice cream. And so jonesing for some good ice cream, it became available, and we jumped right back on board.
Remind me, what was it laced with? What did they get? E. coli, salmonella? What was it?
Listeria.
Oh, Listeria. You
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah. I instantly forgot.
Yeah. Well,
Focus.
I was in ADD land. Yeah,
Yeah.
not focused. Thinking about, you remember the peanut butter scare in like 2008?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was one of the few.
Yeah.
I caught that.
You caught it?
Yeah.
Was it bad?
Oh, yeah.
See,
Like I
had,
blacked out, went through a desk, got
Wow.
taken in an ambulance to the hospital.
See, I bet you if I would have got it from ice cream, I probably would have been like, oh, that was awful. But at the time,
Oh,
I just
dude.
love ice cream so much.
I eat peanut butter or peanuts every single day.
So
Yeah.
currently I'm challenging myself to lose a little bit of poundage. And so I've been on like an ice cream fast for like 3 weeks. So until I get to a
Unfortunate.
certain weight, I cannot have ice cream. And I probably have like, my wife can probably correct me, but we probably have about 12 half gallons in our freezer outside. So
It's a lot of discipline.
it's a lot of discipline. So when I
for
say
you.
I love ice cream, it goes on sale. Like we're buying like 6 to 8 at a time. Just we're racking it up.
Most people do that in their deep freeze with briskets.
Yeah.
Well,
Andy's over here doing it with ice cream.
I do have briskets, but then half of it's filled probably with ice cream. The best, and one of the best. So I've had some 2 surgeries, and people are like, "Oh, that's awful." I'm like, "Yeah, the pain's awful, but you get to eat ice cream every meal of the day.
Yeah.
Milkshakes. I mean, you ever pull?
Prescribed.
Yes, you pull up to Brahms at like 6 in the morning. You're like, "Hey, I need a vanilla shake," and they're like, "What?"
This guy's living on the wild side.
I'm like, dude, you're rocking my world right now. You're giving me ice cream for breakfast. This is the greatest.
Could I
thing
get
ever.
another tooth surgery, please?
Yeah,
Something's a little
Yeah.
nerves.
yeah.
Clink, clink, clink.
Yeah,
Not
I try to
too
use it for like a teeth cleaning now, but it doesn't really. Yeah, my wife kind of frowns on that. It's not
What's your position on an ice cream cookie sandwich?
level?
Yeah.
As long as the cookies have to be good, though. I mean, I think the cookies, if they're gonna do it right, the cookies got to be solid too.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have crap cookies on an ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, it's all crumbly, and you're like, I just need this cookie off my ice
Yeah,
cream.
yeah. But no, I mean, I love ice cream. I don't know. My mom growing up, my mom used to make homemade ice cream, peach, strawberry. We used to make it for all of like our family holidays and birthdays, and so make homemade ice cream. I have churned it.
Yeah.
We had a family reunion. I had to be in high school sometimes, so late 90s, and I don't know. The old people thought it'd be cool to have all the young people like hand churn the ice cream. And labor of love, but it was the best. It was really good.
Mhm.
It was really, really good.
Putting that rock salt around the outside.
yeah.
I don't know why that's in there. I guess it drops the temperature.
It makes it colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the salt
You
does.
ever done that, Kev?
No, I'm just thinking how the title of this episode is going to be The Ice Cream Man.
Yeah. Take it back to Master P.
There it is. Was that Master P?
Is it Silk the Soccer or Master P? I thought it was Master P.
The internet knows all the answers,
Yeah.
so we'll just take a
I
small.
may or may not have had a No Limit Records charm on my
I want to
chain.
say it's Master P. Nah.
That's Daniel Harris Jan right there.
I'm a
It was
sucker for-
both.
It was both.
It was a collab,
Boom.
Master P and Silk the Shocker. How about that?
Ron White, step aside.
Yes.
There's a new sheriff in town.
We're out of ice cream.
Yeah, that's how you know Master P's out of ice cream when
Yeah.
he plays the ice cream song.
Oh man.
That joke doesn't make any sense unless you know that I tried to convince my kids for a decade that if the ice cream truck plays the song, that's how you know they're out of ice cream. That was my trick to get off the ice cream truck.
So always back to basketball. The only reason I know that is because basketball in the 90s, you had to listen to rap.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to like heavy metal and like skater rock, alternative rock whenever I was playing, but it never really went well on like the run out music or warm out music. Put a little Pantera on. It's like, we're not really feeling that, bro.
No, Andy's got a hold of the tapes again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I got one game and then I was canceled.
How many times did y'all run out to Informer? Remember that song?
Informer, Jock Jams.
Jock Jams.
Was all about.
You remember
Jock
Informer?
Jams.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know. That's a joy though. Like butterflies in your stomach, you're running out, dunking in pregame before the refs got out.
Oh, because you don't want to get teed up.
No, yeah, the refs come out, you're like, oh, everybody stop dunking,
Yeah.
Then you start just slapping glass, being cool.
God, so William his first high school basketball game is, well, it was last Friday. It's this coming Friday.
Yeah.
Man, all that excitement, I see in your face right now, that excitement, he's about to get. And I was just telling him in the car, I was like, man, this, it's going to be awesome.
It is.
He's so excited.
It is.
They got their practice jerseys the other day. He came home. He's like, Dad, it's red. It says Pierce on the front. He's like, man, he kind of flexes on me. He goes, I felt so tough.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm so excited for you, man.
So you're at Pierce. Okay. Small world.
Yeah.
Assistant principal Beasley, good friends with.
Oh, really?
Really tall guy. Yeah. We've played some rec basketball together.
That's funny.
He used to coach at Lake Highlands.
Okay.
And my high school coach was coaching at Lake Highlands when he was coaching.
Okay.
And then the buddy I told you I went to A&M with was the freshman coach. So
At Lake Highlands?
At Lake Highlands all through this. And even make it a really crazy circle. The guy that I helped coach my son's basketball team went to Lake Highlands as well and knows all that group too. So
that is a small world.
Very small world.
Are any of them still there coaching?
No.
They got a stud this year.
Do they?
There's a junior over there that if everything goes well for Pierce, he'll transfer at the end of the season.
Yeah.
He's number 2 in the nation. He's
Really?
Go
They've
catch
always had a lot of talent.
go catch a Lake Highlands Richardson high school game this year. It'll be classic punch out matchup.
Richardson's always had a bunch of great kids. Timmy.
Oh, yeah.
Timmy was at Pierce.
Timmy was at Pierce.
Just saw him. Gonzaga played Tennessee a couple weeks ago.
Did you go?
I went.
I did too. I was there.
Did you see the bunch of kids dancing at the one end of the court that
Yes.
was open?
They all had Spurs jerseys on.
They were Bullet jerseys because we're Team Bullet, but
Black and white?
Yes.
Okay, they look like Spurs jerseys. I know were
One
y'all
of
down there?
That was one of my kids.
That's hilarious.
Dancing away. Yeah.
So William and I went. We were sitting kind of mid, where the Gonzaga team ran out from the tunnel. We were sitting right behind that.
Okay.
And William was sitting there with me, and he was like, "Look at those kids over there dancing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I see you."
Yeah, I ran into Beasley over there. Good, Rodney, and
That's hilarious.
In fact, I didn't know they were going to the game, but his wife takes a video of my son Asher. He's dancing like, "That's Asher." Takes a picture and sends it to my wife, and is like, "Hey, the Beasleys are at the game," and so we go out and hang out with them and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we had 7 second grade boys basketball team, or pretty much our whole team went, minus a couple, just to kind of show them real life basketball.
Oh, yeah.
They watched some of the game, but for the most part, the key was the music that came on at timeouts. You saw dance moves that have never been done before.
Yeah.
Ever.
Shouldn't be done again.
No.
Based on my own observation of
Yes.
those kids dancing.
Absolutely. It was wild and crazy. They will regret it one day. I think we all take photos and video of our kids to show at weddings and just embarrass them.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably not going to wait that long. I mean, this is probably going to be like 5th grade graduation or, I mean, these moves that he was putting out are just no doubt just out there. I've never done anything so embarrassing in my life, and I wasn't even doing them. So
I was embarrassed for you, Junior.
Yeah, no, but the kids are great because they don't have a care in the world.
That's right.
I mean, they're not there with some impression of hey, I got to impress this or that. They're just having a blast.
Yeah.
Would he get out there and start dancing? No, he'd be like, my friends are going to see it, or I'm self-conscious. dude, these kids just, hey man, we're out here with our bros just dancing together.
Fast forward to your 40s, and we can't even get Stewie to Thriller dance on our social media.
Yeah.
There's not one video or picture in the history of the world of me dancing.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not true. I danced at my wedding. There's a picture of Ashley and I dancing at our wedding. That's about the best you're going to get.
So you lose that.
Yeah. So, nah. But kids are great. We went from ice cream to, I don't know where, but.
We've just stirred the whole story up.
Yeah.
Give me some family talk.
So obviously 7-year-old son, Asher, great kid. We plays baseball, basketball. We've tried soccer, not his gig. I don't know if anything's his gig. But I think even going kind of like looking in the future and some other things, like we went and I asked him this Sunday, I was like, hey, let's go. You want to go to the batting cages? Yeah, let's do that. And we left, we came home, and I'm like, you know what? You did something, and we worked on some craft, and you did it when probably nobody else was. I said, just remember that. I mean, if you want to be good at something, just work at it when somebody else isn't, you know? So trying to instill some things with him. Great kid. The teachers love him, at school. I think he does really well. He loves Legos. I love Lego. My wife has learned to love Lego. So I couldn't even tell you how many sets we have, but that's
thousands of dollars in Legos, right? I mean,
it's probably in the 5 figures by now.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my own kind of collection going from my architecture days. I have a whole architecture collection.
Yeah.
So I have every architectural set except for 3. One, they only produced like 20 of. One was only released in like Saudi Arabia or something. And the other one's the new one that just came out like 2 weeks ago. So they got like 40 or 50 sets of those. Yeah, most of them stay in the box. And then my son's he's into Marvel, Legos, and Super Mario, and then at Christmas time, we started doing the Christmas Lego set. So I don't rebuild them every year, but we usually add to it, and then we have a little Christmas village of Lego.
It's awesome.
It's pretty sweet. We got a train that actually lights up and goes around a track and powered. So, you know, some of that's engineering and kind of thinking and problem solving. I think that helps them out. Plus, we enjoy it. So that's him. My wife, we've been married 16 years. We knew each other when we were at A&M. She was at UNT. We met, but we didn't actually start dating until like 4 years later. So we stayed in contact, kind of blew each other off for 4 years, every once in a while, once every 6 months. Then we finally went on a real date, and we saw each other pretty much every day for 1.5 years till we were engaged, and then got married, and the rest is history. Obviously, we spent some time, just together first before we having a child. So lots of experiences. One thing that really is about her. One, she told me don't be myself, but she is. There's a lot of pressure for the opening intro, which we really didn't get, like the for sure intro deal. But she does pageants and does pageant coaching. So one of the first questions that every girl has to answer is, "Tell me about yourself," which is kind of like an elevator pitch. So she grilled me like no other this weekend. I was just like, do you really have to do this to me? I knew you were going to grill me and try to coach me up. So that's her deal. She loves pageants, loves pageant coaching and coaching these girls up.
What were her tips? How was she coaching you up?
Don't say, don't say, don't say, So those are all the things. And then just make it easy for somebody to listen to. Give them about 45 seconds of kind of who you are, open up questions that people will inquire more about you.
We got pageant level instruction leadership coming on this podcast.
Yeah.
Duh.
Who knew?
Where'd she grow up?
She grew up in Kansas.
Okay.
Smaller town than Belton, if there ever is one. But her school was like K through 12, all in one building. Graduating class of I want to get it wrong, but it's probably like 32. So very, very small. Farm town. She grew up showing Jersey cattle as a small child and kind of lived a farm life. She did ballet and dance. She went to Kilgore college to be a rangerette. She never made it, but enjoyed her time. She stayed here. She knew she'd find me one day.
That's right.
That's why she hung around.
Come on
she
now.
hung around.
Yeah.
Went to UNT, fashion design degree, and she worked all the way up until we had a child, and then she's kind of head chief at home and in charge of the child and getting him to and from school, which is when you have to do it and you don't have that person there is like the most valuable job in the world.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she is really good at just keeping us, me and my son, in line and keeping the house going. Plus doing her pageant stuff, and she works for the lady that organizes the pageant, sells pageant jewelry and stuff. So she does those things. Her big deal, and I wrote it down in my notes, so I want to make sure I say it. But she's a breast cancer survivor. Her mom has had it twice, so she saw her mom go through it. And 2018. She found a lump, and she went and had a scan and then had to go get a biopsy. And she pretty much knew at that point through the biopsy that she had it. So since 2018, that's when she found it. She had 4 rounds of chemo, which is way shorter than most people. Most people do it for much longer, have radiation. Very thankful. We read Prayer Through Cancer book every night. I mean, we're bound by faith. I mean, sometimes we don't make it to church every weekend and do a bunch of church stuff, but our faith is really what keeps our family going. And so prayer really got us through these hard times. And so even through when she dealt with it through her mom, and even now, I mean, her deal is just to promote breast cancer awareness, find it, early detection, because she was, I'm going to give away her age, but that was...
You already did. You graduated in 98.
Yeah, 37. She was a year older, so she was 38, I guess, when she found it. So, I mean, this is not an old person's deal. I mean, cancer is not. It is, it's available to everybody. And so she went through it. We went through it together. Luckily, work impactfully allowed me to just be there for all her treatments, which... Anybody just going, it's pretty depressing to go up there. I mean, you got people that are just going through hell. And everything they put in your body is killing your body itself. The nurses going in are all, I mean, they're all protected because they just get around it all day long. It's really damaging to them. And so the day of, it's like so depressing, but, they don't feel sick that day. It's always like a couple days later, the next week. By the time you start feeling better, or start, you get through it. By the time you feel worse, you're taking another treatment, and it's just the cycle over and over. And again, I feel very privileged that it was only 4 treatments because people do it way longer. But that was a tough time. I mean, I shaved her head. My son was 3 at the time and helped shave her head. We all shaved our head just to help support her and have her go through that. But, I mean, it's still... It never goes away, the scare of, oh, you're sick, what now? She's had a double mastectomy, so there's nothing for those that's taken all the tissue out. So it kind of eliminated all the risks that maybe something's still in there, but it can manifest somewhere else. Yeah. And the only way you find out is through some blood test. And so you try to live your life to its fullest, but you don't know until it's almost kind of taken away. And what that means, like really to go after what life is and to have fun with it, enjoy it. And you never know what's going to happen. So
I'm going to linger there for just a minute. Like you get a call, y'all go to the doctor together. Like what's that? Cause you catch a square uppercut at some point.
Yeah, no. The first time she went, it was just a call. She's like, well, I have to come back for a biopsy. I went with her that time, or I met her there, and she did the biopsy, and then they do a couple tests. And I could be getting some of the story wrong, but I remember sitting in the car, and she had gotten a letter or something, and she opens it up, and it's like, yeah, you're positive for cancer. You need to go see an oncologist. And I mean, it's an uppercut. You lose your breath. You can't breathe. You're crying. She had been through it before with her mom, and I'd heard stories and stuff, but now I'm in her shoes.
Yeah.
Now I'm her support system for her to go through it. And I don't know how to act. Nobody in my family's had it before. I don't know. So I just kind of told myself, and our deal was just, hey, I'm going to support you. We're going to get through it together. not going to leave you on the island. We're going to do this together. And that was kind of just our big motivating factor, was to do that. And, obviously we have a young child. And so every time she looks at him, he's like, we're getting through it. You put a mama bear against something that's attacking, like them not being with their child.
Yep.
They will beat the crap out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's what she's done. Is she's amazing. She's been through it. I know she's probably got some emotions that get built up from time to time and just don't unknown, and even the struggle through it. But yeah, she puts on a smiling face, gets through it every day. Love her to death. I mean, she's way stronger than I've ever been. So
there's like I'm going to mess it up, but there's like a saying of like the Stoics, like of the ancients. Mm-hmm. It's something like memento mori or something to this effect. The net translation of it is like, you're not promised tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we think about that like in passing, and heck, I think Tim McGraw had a song about it once, right? But is it Tim McGraw? Live Like You Were Dying? I think it's Tim McGraw. In any event, and you just like think about it like in passing sense, like, yeah. Until it comes home to roost and you're like, oh no, like this is it, right?
Yeah.
That story is a good like gut check for everybody.
Yeah.
Just like, hold on a minute. That phone rings for any of us tomorrow.
Yeah.
And maybe it's your mom, maybe it's a car accident, maybe it's cancer, maybe it's something, but you are not promised another 28 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours on this earth. Yeah. Like you're not promised it. So you better get to living.
And when people were like, hey, how's your day? Oh, it's good. I'm like, no, it's great.
Yeah.
I smile, enjoy it. I mean, something happened when I leave here today. We got to enjoy it. I kiss my wife every day before I leave, tell her I love her, and go to work. And then, at the end of the night too. I mean, do the same thing with my son. I mean, I guess it's a passion for life. I'm not necessarily scared of death in a way. I hate funerals, but I just love having fun for what's been given to me. It's a privilege. Yeah, I mean, you wrapped it up well. I mean, there's a gut punch that could happen at any point, and you're not going to be prepared for it, but it's how you react to it too. So
that's it.
But, through those stories, and there's been some social media posts through work that the work helps support us as well. I mean, there's people in the industry that reached out and like, man, my wife went through it. Found out a new person last week, Doug. I was talking to him on a job, and he was celebrating his wife being cancer free. It was a big month for him in October. And I was like, really? How my wife too? So there's connected stories, and it gets back to just knowing people.
Oh, yeah.
But you'd be surprised how many people have been impacted directly with a wife or a sister or something that has directly affected them. And that just be breast cancer. I mean, and you find another support system there. For everybody to lean on.
Yeah. Yep, so. And you have that forever now.
Yeah.
When somebody's going through it, like, all right.
Yeah. And they're not all old. They're not some young. I mean, you just, yeah. I mean, again, finding friends, finding support. We all need it.
Well, to the Josh Carson principle, like
yes.
Stalking your LinkedIn to get more of a deep dive into the notes. I saw I think it's your banner picture of the Kayla Strong. I had no idea that was your wife. Yeah. No idea. Yeah. I just knew there was going to be a story there of maybe, I assumed, there's assumption, it was going to be somebody from the company.
Yeah. No.
But no, it's just the company rallying around part of the family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the family, we did the same thing, but, it's nice. Yeah, that's why I'm with the company for so long. I mean, besides all the work challenges, I mean, you had the company support, my family through up through the hardest point of our marriage at that point.
Yeah.
You get down to the nitty gritty of like, it's not the day-to-day thing. You're looking deeper into what the relationship means, what more you can provide to it. It's, man, it's everything. Yeah. And you realize that person is everything to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know it's going to help somebody, you sharing that, you know?
Yeah.
And my wife is like, she will tell you the gruesome story of all the surgeries and everything else. And she is so open to share stuff. She's reached out, and obviously that's kind of, she still does pageants too. So part of that's having a platform, and her platform's always been breast cancer awareness and things like that. And it's only amplified what she goes and talks about with other women and girls. And now it's a personal story. It's not before is kind of her mom's story and what she went through. Now it's a personal story. And so it's a little bit more impactful, to the people that she talks to, and she's trying to make impact on what she does. And that's great. I mean, that community needs a lot of help and support. I mean, no matter what kind of cancer it is, you learn that, man, it doesn't take names, gender, or anything. When it comes, it comes.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
There's no way to like pull out of that.
No.
Yeah. So what books are you listening to?
Yeah. Well, but
I don't listen. I'm one of the few of your listeners that I cannot do a listening book.
Yeah.
I've tried to do the Audible thing, and I'll do a podcast, but I kind of zone in and out of those things.
Yeah.
But I will read a book. Pages will be earmarked. I'll underline stuff. And then I'll go back and type the notes so that I can always just go back and read the notes from time to the highlights. And so I've done that probably in the last, 3, 4, 5 books. I'm not a big reader. I try to get 2 in a year, something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds like me like you're crushing it.
Yeah. I think so too.
To each their own, man.
Yeah.
I think so too. Two's a good number for me. But no, I'm not a big Audible person.
Yeah.
I'm more of a podcaster.
You know what I found out? Like, there's different techniques, and to each their own, right? You figure out what works for you. Some of them, when I stop paying attention, I'll just turn it off. And then others, like I'm in this one book right now, 7 Habits for the Second Spin.
Yeah.
And every time I turn it on, I stop listening and I start thinking strategically.
Yeah.
So I'm realizing and self-aware, like, oh, this is powerful.
Yeah.
I've already absorbed this book once. For whatever reason, this is my activator to start thinking about big things.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll let it ride. I'm not going to turn it off because it's activating something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I tend to just let them go and just zone out because maybe I'm just not that interested in some of them.
Yeah.
I'm reading them because somebody else told me it was good. But yeah, no, but no, I will hit your book note just because it usually comes up. But so my big one the last 2 years ago was the Tim Grover, Relentless and Winning.
Yeah.
I read those. I think I read them both while I was on vacation, just me and my wife, and I'm just like, it hits so hard home on the basketball front, and then business. Like, you just have to go kill it. Like I'm telling my son, you're practicing when nobody else is. Like, use that in life.
Yeah.
Some of the principles kind of get a little overwhelming because it's like win at all costs in a way.
Oh yeah.
I don't agree with those. But certain situations, you need to win at all costs. When it came to my wife's cancer, we had to win at all costs. Like, it was full bore. Hey, if we needed certain vitamins or eat a certain way or get this much rest or this bed or these shoes or whatever the magic thing was, we're trying to win at all costs. So to me, that was good for basketball too. The one that my first book, and I had to find it at work this morning actually, that really hit home. I think it was the first book I read kind of in the professional life. It was called All In, and it really centered around 3 things about leadership and managing people. And I circle back to it because I tend to find myself as I talk to people and I'm trying to coach them, it kind of reiterates some of the things I'm trying to get out. But the 3 things are 3 E's: engage, enable, and energize. And as managers, you can't do 2 and just kind of leave the other one out. Like, you really need to do all 3. And sometimes I'm talking to people, I always kind of forget one of the 3, like I probably do because I need to write them down. But I mean, you got to engage people, you got to enable them to make decisions, and you got to energize them. And if you do those with people that you work with or friends or frankly, the kids I help coach, my son and his teammates, man, it's life-changing. I mean, you're going to find out who can really be up to snuff.
Yeah.
And if they can't, like, you know where you need to motivate them. But that was probably the first book I read as far as managing and leadership as I was, post college. I don't even remember how I found it. I think I was reading a Southwest Airlines article and it listed something in there and I was like, I'll get this book. never really read a book before. It's been like junior high. And even then, I read the Cliff Notes after I got done tired of reading. I mean, I've never been a big reader. So I had to go back to it. It's sitting in my office desk. I need to probably pick it back up and read it again because it's going to probably pull out some different nuggets out of it. But those are the three. I mean, just 3 words. That's it. 3 words. You know, how to manage people. And I think they're applicable no matter what you do.
Yeah. Totally.
So.
All right, leave us with one big thing. That's how we end it, you know?
Yeah, no. Have fun in life. I mean, have fun at work. If you don't enjoy work, man, find something else to do. Life's too short. You'll realize that as you get older. You got one life. Cherish it, envy it, or enjoy it. Enjoy it with community, family. You know, be a leader, be a role model. But all in all, have fun. That's it.
That is it.
With some ice cream.
That's right. The cherry on top.
This episode brought to you by Tongue in Cheek Ice Cream, located on Campbell Road in Richardson, Texas.
This is going to be one of these reverse sponsorships. And be like, hey, check out the very end, pay me.
Just so you know. Nah, probably not.
No,
I'll probably just get
yes, mention Bluebell a lot, but we're gonna cut in tongue in cheek.
That's right.
Every time he mentions Bluebell.
I'll just dub my voice over your voice.
Yeah, I will. It'll be on the top of the list when I hit my ice cream goal.
Where do you guys office?
We're Farmers Branch, just right up the road. So we're right up in the right up the road next to TDI.
Yeah. So I was just trying to figure out how we could eat breakfast ice cream on the way to work one morning. That's what I was trying to figure out, how me and you could meet at Tongue in Cheek for breakfast one morning while you're on the way to work. Can we do that?
Yes.
After his fast, of course.
Yes. No, I'm gonna.
No.
You're not a quitter, Andy.
I'm not quitting. I'm just postponing.
No, you've quit, and I'm here to encourage you to stop being a quitter around your passion for ice cream.
I have ice cream is a 24/7 thing for me. Breakfast, you don't scare me away. Late night, middle of the night. My wife will confirm that I can eat ice cream and lots of it, no matter what, any time of day.
I cannot wait to open this with the intro from Ice Cream Man and title this episode The Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Please don't do that to him.
No,
yeah. I love ice cream.
You're an awesome dude, Andy.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. This is fun. Quite nervous coming into this. Never
Couldn't
done
tell.
it before, but
yeah.
You know, when you can have good conversation and all pick something up from everybody, you know, we're all kind of learning something at the same time. So
love it, man. Appreciate you hanging.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.